So we're out in nature. It smells like horse manure, but in a good way. In a good way. So in today's perfectly exposed video, I'd like to talk about lenses and how I've made so many mistakes just going for my intellectual mind thinking stats mean everything. They do not, my friend.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
The sun is so bright. Is this the perfect time of day for photographers to come out? It's called golden hour when the sun's at its highest point and it casts flattering shadows on your face. I get it, I know photography. Why's my hair doing shit that it shouldn't be doing? So I made the biggest mistake anyone's ever made in their lives. I bought the Mitacon 25mm f/0.95 lens instead of the Leica 25mm f1.4. A Mitacon, Chinese knockoff company, instead of a Leica. Are you believing this right now? Not only was it the same price, actually that sentence finishes itself, I didn't realize that lenses have different characteristics to them and different looks, and there's so much more beyond the numbers. All I saw was f/0.95, and I was in that coffee shop with the Leica lens on this camera. I wish I even took some footage of it so I could just play that over and over again, every video. That'd go viral, each one, every time. I was sitting in that shop like a moron, and I'm looking at this lens and it's glorious. I'm like, yeah, that looks fantastic. And then I thought to myself, okay, is there gonna be much of a difference, f/0.95 to 1.4? Can't be much. So I moved it up to like 1.8 or whatever it was. I decided the math in my head and it was accurate. It was so accurate. And I stopped it down a bit and I was like, oh my god, the bokeh balls, they got smaller. There's one thing in life, men, you don't want ball shrinkage, especially not of the bokeh ball variety. Actually, I prefer it when they shrink. I can run faster. It's less of a hassle. They're hanging down, flopping around. Okay, we move along. So I had this lens and my instinct is saying, buy it, man, this is good. And I was like, you know what? I gotta go for it. I gotta go for the gold. Let's get a Mitacon. I think it costed a little bit more because this guy was selling it used. I bought the Mitacon new and I got it and I was like, what have I done? To my credit, the other reason I wanted to get that was because I figured it would be easier to manual focus because it had the notches and shit. And I was manual focusing at that time, so I figured that was the superior method, and this will give me the numbers, I can tweak it, one lines up with that, and we're good. But boy, was I wrong. That's when I realized there's so much more to a lens. Not only is the f/0.95 bokeh busy, it's getting busy back there. This like a 70s porn shoot. In fact, it only looked right when I stopped it down to f1.4 and I was like, could have just had the Leica. I could have tapped to focus with the app. I gotta focus 15 feet away from the camera. This is a pain in the ass. Not only was the bokeh bad, contrast, none. Colors, muted. Just the whole image. Saturation, immune to my eyes. I'll tell you that much. Did he pass by fluidly in motion-like fashion at our 1/50th of a shutter speed? I always do it correctly. So that brings me to a test I want to show you. I went to Henry's downtown and I bought a spare battery for this G85 because I was just like, this is it. This is my vlogging camera. I love it. It's so stable. I love this little lens, the 15mm Leica. So I got a spare battery. The one, I bought an off-market brand and it like swelled up and I couldn't even get it in the camera anymore. That's bound to explode one day. So I went to Henry's to see. We got this Leica 15mm f1.7. I wanted to see what that Olympus 17mm f1.2 would look like. The Pro lens. Will that 1.2 be so glorious that we can't even admit its glory in front of itself, or it just stops working? Is that how lenses work? Can they hear you? Your thoughts? I think they can. I heard him. I heard his thoughts. Running sucks. Why am I doing this? I should just limit my calories and stop doing this to myself. So we have some interesting conclusions. I made 4 clips in 2 different spots. Leica versus the Olympus. Let's do it. Panasonic 15mm f1.7 look at us. How you do? And here's the 17mm f1.2. Is the background any more delicious than our little friend Leica? Little Leica that could. Okay, another little test. 17mm f1.2. Further background, is it just too blurry for our own goods? Is the real question. Wow. And here's the Leica in the same position. Background, fantastic. Which is better? Now first, let me apologize. Olympus is lazy. I didn't realize that even though I could tap right on my face, it could somehow confuse my face for whatever the sign was. It tapped and didn't get me. Like, what the hell is that? That's the whole point of this. You tap it and lock it, and it locked off its own ass. So that second clip is basically useless, but the guy at Henry's told me to do it that way because there was so much more background. Oh, there's the blackbird. The black red shoulder bird. Hey buddy. Are you blurry? You're so blurry right now. You don't even know it. You don't even know how blurry you are. Oh god. I'm a nature show. So I'm sorry, that clip's basically useless. But the first one, that's useful. And what I noticed, yes, it is blurrier, obviously. 1.2 versus 1.7. And the focal length is a little longer. That helps too. Compress the background a little more blurry in your life. But it's weird, like the Olympus looks a little cheaper to me. It's definitely softer. That Leica, holy cow. Is that even a good thing though? For the human face? Do we want that sharp? Not really. And it's a lot warmer, I noticed. It's like red, like orange even. I'm interested to hear your thoughts down below, because you guys notice things I don't even notice. I swear, like I'm looking at my little laptop monitor. I got my blue light filters on so no blue light gets into my eyes. Like I watch so much. I edit a lot of videos and I watch a lot of videos, so I want the least eye strain possible. I got my brightness down to like 1. So you guys notice things I would never notice, and just your eye, you know what to look for, some of you photographers. Ken, I want you to pose like you know you could beat the guy up beside you, but you wouldn't, because you're courageous and nice. Yeah, I still think you would have beat him up. Try it again. My battery ran out. I'm sorry. You lose. So let me know down below which lens you thought looked better, and is the bokeh whoring worth it? I mean, it's a heavier lens, probably more expensive. Did it look nicer? I would buy it. I kind of want it for the GH5S because it would be a slightly less, what would the angle be? I'll put it right here, and then the aperture would be like 2.1-ish equivalent. Are you believing that? I would be debating between that and my Leica 12mm f1.4 for the studio work. So lightness wouldn't matter, but I think that like super close look. Oh no, I'm no longer in focus. This camera could autofocus, I promise. But it just goes to show you there's more than the number. Like you think you want that highest aperture and you get the Olympus, but it's softer, warmer, less contrast. And there's all kinds of examples like that. Like usually the Zeiss lenses look so much better than their cheaper rivals. Marcus Pix just did a little comparison between that new Samyang 85mm f1.4 versus the Zeiss f1.8. And on paper you think, well, this is 1.4. Oh my god, right now. Am I being stalked? Is that Bigfoot? It's not Bigfoot. Smaller than I thought. Bigfoot, they ride bikes too. Oh wow. So he made a good comparison video, and yes, the Samyang had a slightly blurrier background, but like everything else about it was worse. The colors didn't pop. Pop your mom. No, I won't. I'm not a photographer, so I don't know all the terms and the contrast and saturation, micro contrast. What the hell is that? That's a myth. You're a myth. That doesn't exist. But apparently anybody who knows what they're doing would go with that Zeiss. Spend a little more money, and there's a reason it's more money. Like, what kind of glass are Samyang using? I think most of their lenses are just, they go to the beach and get some sand and add water and milk to it and just flatten it. They fry it in lard, and then hopefully it goes clear, and then you can see something through it, and then they call it a day. Samyang also has some of the worst autofocus I've ever seen of any lens, any camera, lens, bag, strap. The mosquito's biting my neck. Hey, what kind of camera?
It's an old Pentax.
Pentax, oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, a lot of people don't use them.
No, they don't. What is it? APS-C?
No, it's a K200.
K200.
Yeah.
Wow.
A 300 milliliter lens, or millimeter. That's milliliter. Yeah, right.
So is Pentax like the best? People who
Well,
love
you know
them.
what? Pentax was great, but they were late getting into the digital game, and that's why Canon and Nikon are,
Okay,
they're the ones that everybody goes for.
interesting.
Yeah. My family's always been Pentax.
Good to see them alive. You too. We found a Pentax user. I'll be honest with you, I was looking forward to that K1. I was hoping it'd be amazing. And they didn't have the flippy screen, they did some weird tri-4-angular shit. But they had the in-body image stabilization, and they were cheaper than most other brands. I was like, yeah. And I would go for the underdog. I like underdogs. He tried to kill me? That's fine. You said Canadians weren't nice. He didn't kill me, so he didn't go through with it. Just give him a second chance. But yeah, I totally would have went with the underdog Pentax. Hey, buddy. Hey. Just because, why not? They just don't do video very good. They top out at like 1080p, 30p, which honestly, we're doing 1080p, 24p right now. 24 FPS. I got one guy saying, when did that turn into P instead of FPS? So if Pentax ever comes correct, with a little flippy screen action, keep that IBIS going, you might have a customer on your hands. So today's perfectly exposed video was made possible by the technicians at Panasonic, who don't allow auto ISO in manual mode. So we don't know what's happening. We've got an ND filter on there, but it doesn't help. And you can't do auto aperture with this lens apparently. It does nothing, even if it's on the auto thing. So that's fun. There's someone learning how to drive. I'm learning how to film. It's ironic. So what do you think? What's your favorite lens brand? Mine probably Leica, just because they're the only lenses I've ever owned, and I'm just so excited about them. I love how tiny this 15mm f1.7 is. I love the glorious 12, although I like this one more. I say if I was gonna sell one lens, it'd be that one. I'd keep this little bad boy. I love it. Tamron might be my next favorite. Oh, she's learning. She's learning well. Learning how to interrupt my video. That's what she learned today. Good work. Good job. They're parallel parking their way through life, even though there's no cars in front or behind them. Makes it a little easier. It's kindergarten mode. Seems to be working for them though. So yeah, Tamron might be my next favorite just because they do make good quality lens, good enough, and they're cheap and light. Oh, y'all want to be on? What up? Dancing.
What's your channel? My name's Jeff.
Camera Conspiracies. Run. Hello.
Hey guys, what are you doing?
Filming? Awkwardly.
Hello. Hey guys.
Y'all gonna start a YouTube channel?
Yes.
Yeah?
Where are you going? What are you doing?
Just walking around the neighborhood. Nice to meet you guys. Watch the video, you'll be in it. I'll put dance music to your dancing. Everybody loves your favorite neighborhood YouTuber. I forgot I was gonna do a little test with the lav versus what you were listening to before, the Rode Video Micro. What sounds better? Is it worth it? This is so much less suspicious looking without that big furry rat on top of my camera waiting to pounce on me. Is it worth it? Does it sound just as good? Or is it worse? Never use it again? I get it. The only annoying part is you have to be tethered to it. It is kind of awkward. It's actually worse. But putting it away in your bag, that's awkward with the thing on top. Oh my god, I dragged my foot like a caveman. So I think we're done. We're done here. Thank you so much for watching the video today. Post your lens stuff down below. Affiliate links everywhere. Subscribe for more videos. I'll see you in the next one.